alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Hi Rogers, can I ask you something?
Shoot.
What does corruption mean?
Well, summarily, corruption is abuse of public power for personal gain or for the benefit of a group to which one owes allegiance. For example, when a public office is abused by an official accepting or soliciting a bribe. By the way, private people can be corrupt too, like bribing police officers to escape fines.
Okay. So exactly how does that concern me?
Well, do you pay taxes?
I guess, yeah. What does that have to do with this?
Everything. Because those taxes you pay are supposed to facilitate services you use, like water, electricity, roads construction, medicines in hospitals, name it.
Okay, that is much bigger than I thought. But it can be stopped, right?
Well, yes it can, although it may not be as easy as it sounds. And here is the reason why. Corruption roots are grounded in our country's social, political, economic, bureaucratic traditions and policies.
So, what has kept it going this long? I mean, why don't we stop it?
Well, the main reason why it has been here for so long is because institutions are weak, either as a result of poorly defined ethical standards of public service, weak administrative and financial systems, or ineffective watchdog agencies.
What can we do to stop it?
At a national level, we must focus on strengthening the independence and effectiveness of public institutions that fight corruption. At a personal level, we must commit to never giving a bribe.
I promise I'll never give a bribe.
Well, that's a great decision you have made. Me and you now have to spread this message to all our friends. If we all do our part, corruption will be no more.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk.
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here, Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
Looking for a pair of shoes? Less Up Stores has a wide range of selection for unisex footwear. We have the best quality of all brands at pocket-friendly prices and we make deliveries countrywide. Just place your order or reach us on 0772 08 0090. You can also check up at Less Up Stores on all our social media platforms. Less Up, craft your own footprints.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Ennaku z'omwezi ziri 8 omwezi tuli gwa Ssebaseka wagiyite June omwaka 2023 tumaguzaako ena gye musizidde okupanga mutula wa program gyogenda mu maaso n'okuba ng'olaba yi program The Mighty Drive era ng'ebeerawo okuva ku Monday ku 5 saawa 2 ez'okumakya okutuukira ddala ku ssaawa 4 ez'akalasamayanzi. Nze Mumbejja Luwedde Lilian nkwaniriza nnyo era nga kanyumba ke tulimu ke Kamaiti Global News Updates. Ngenda kubanga nkuwa ebimu ku ebyo ebyakoze amawulire mu ggwanga Uganda n'ebitundu by'eggwanga ate ebyenjawulo. So nga sinaba kubanga nga kuwa njagala kutegeeza nti olunaku olwaleero tulina Engineer Kwesiga Dickson era ng'ono ye CEO wa Aquila Recycling. Tugenda kuba twogera ku plastic pollution n'ebirala bingi nnyo ebigwa ate mu kkowe eryo twogere discussion yaffe wegenda okubanga etambulira naye nga sigenda kubeera nzekka ngenda kuba negatibwako munange Rogers tuli habwe ate bwe tugenda okubanga tukola programu eno okutukira ddala ku ssaawa 4 ng'ate nno munange onnyonnyose ensonga ate ez'enjawulo. So saagala nnyo ate nkuriiseeyo ngenda kubanga mpitayitako mu bimu ku ebyo ebyakoze amawulire wano mu Uganda ate naawe osobole okubanga obitegeera bulungi. Olunaku olweggulo yabadde State of the Nation Address era ng'omukulembeze w'eggwanga General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni ate nno munnange yabaddeko n'obubaka obw'enjawulo bwe yayogeddeko era nga yakoonye ku nsonga ate ez'enjawulo. State of the Nation Address yabaddeko Speaker wa Parliament Right Honorable Anita Mong, kwabaddeko Vice President, Prime Minister, ababaka ba Parliament munnange ab'enjawulo naye ng'ate nno munnange ababaka ate abamu abava mu opposition bo tebasobodde kubanga ate beetaba mu lutuula luno. So ngenda kubanga nkunozaako akatono nnyo ku bimu ku ebyo omukulembeze w'eggwanga bye yakoonyeeko nga yayogedde ku nsonga y'ebyenfuna byaffe eby'eggwanga wa we tuyimiridde kiki ekyetaaga okubanga kikolebwa era nga yategeezezza nti munnange ebyenfuna byaffe wano mu ggwanga erya Uganda tukula era nga wetwogerera tukuze munnange kusinziira ku mukulembeze w'eggwanga olunaku olweggulo bwe yabadde annyonnyola mu State of the Nation Address era nategeeza nti munnange ebyenfuna byaffe bijja kubanga bibalirirwamu obuwumbi bwa $5.5 n'obutundutundu 2 omwaka gw'ebyensimbi guno gwennyini gwe tugenda mu 2023-2024 era nga bwe gunaggwerako awo nno munnange we tujja okubanga tutuuse era n'ayongera munnange n'ategeeza nti nga gavumenti ya NRM tennaba kubanga ejja mu buyinza munnange bw'otunuulira ate ekonomi yaffe we yali eyimiridde munnange teyali nnungi n'akamu era nti munnange gavumenti ya NRM bukyanga ejja mu buyinza ebyenfuna by'eggwanga ate munnange bikulidde ddala emirundi 30 okuva bwe gwali mu 1986. So omukulembeze w'eggwanga munnange yayogedde ku nsonga ez'enjawulo era n'ategeeza nti ne munnange ne bayinvesita nabo beeyongereddeko nno ddala obungi bw'otunuulira ate kati nga bwe guli bayinvesita beeyongeddeko naye ng'ate n'ebyenfuna by'eggwanga nabyo bikyagendera ddala mu maaso n'okubanga munnange bikulira ddala era n'ategeeza nti bwe tweyongera okubanga tukola awo nno munnange ebyenfuna byaffe bijja kubanga biterera bulungi nnyo abantu bwe baneeyongera okubanga bajjumbira enteekateeka eno eya gavumenti oba eya programs zino eza gavumenti okuli parish development model okwonnogattako ne programu y'emyoga awo nno munnange ebyenfuna byaffe bijja kubanga ate bikulira ddala bulungi nnyo. So ebyo nno omukulembeze w'eggwanga bw'atyo bwe yabitegeezezza nti munnange we bajjira mu buyinza ate ekonomi yaffe yali equivalent to $1.5 billion naye nga kati we twogerera munnange tuli ku $49.4 billion n'ategeeza nti kino munnange kiraga nti ekonomi yaffe ekulidde ddala emirundi nga 30 ekubisiddwamu emirundi nga 30. Ono nno era yayogeddeko ku industrialization munnange n'ategeeza nti amakolero mangi nnyo agatandikiddwawo era nga gamu munnange gatandikiddwawo mu bitundu by'eggwanga ebyenjawulo otunya factories ate kati eziriwo yagenze maaso n'ayogera ku byobulimi kakati no munnange anaategeeza nti ebyobulimi sekita eno contributing 24.1% of the GDP era n'ategeeza nti sekita eno munnange ekuze n'ebitundu bina n'obutundutundu buna mu mwaka gw'ebyensimbi guno gwennyini gwe tugenda okuba nga tuwunzika 2021-2022 era n'ategeeza nti munnange kino nno kiraga nti waliwo enkyukakyuka n'okukula okusinziira bwe gwali mu mwaka gw'ebyensimbi 2021 era yavuddewo n'ayogera ate ku agriculture yayogedde ku nsonga ez'enjawulo omuli ebyennyanja omuli amata omuli ennyama n'ayogera n'avaayo era nagenda maaso n'ayogera ku tourism n'ategeeza nti munnange eno sekita nayo erimu essente empitirivu nti bw'otunuulira ekiseera bwe twali mu COVID-19 twafuna abalambuzi abawerera ddala 50,000 naye nga kakati waliwo enjawulo ate nti abalambuzi beeyongerako okutuukira ddala ku 8,800 era nga ssente ezibavaamu ssente empitirivu nnyo. Yayogedde ku infrastructure n'ayogera ate ku health n'ayogera ku education n'ayogerako ku corruption munnange ate n'ayogerako ne ku anti homosexuality law era nga munnange eno yakajja agiteekeko ate yakajja agitekeko omukono gye buvuddeko so nayo yajogeddeko n'ategeeza nti munnange oyo yenna n'akwatibwa nga abunyisa ate ebikolwa bino munnange wakubanga akangavula waliwo abajja okusibwa amayisa waliwo abajja okukangavulwa mu ngeri ez'enjawulo okusinziira ku tteeka nga bwe ligamba so ebyo nabyo yabyogeddeko n'ayogera ku nsonga y'ebyokwerinda wano mu ggwanga n'ategeeza nti munnange bannayuganda mubeere bagumu ensonga y'ebyokwerinda nsonga ekwatiddwako bulungi nnyo era buno obumulumulu obukyalimu obwabo abakwata mmundu munnange nabwo bujja kugenda maaso n'okubanga ate bukolebwako era yategeezeza nti bo bukolebwako bwe twogerera yayogedde ku nsonga z'ettaka n'obubbi bw'ettaka n'ayogera ate ku nsonga ez'enjawulo wa munnange essira welina okuba nga liteekebwa okusobola okulaba nti ebyenfuna by'eggwanga ate nabyo bikula era yategeezeza nti munnange bbeeyi y'ebintu yo ekendeddemu okusinziira bwe gwali ate omwaka oguwedde n'ategeeza nti yo emmere munnange ekyali waggulu olw'enkyukakyuka y'embeera y'obudde so ebyo nno bye bimu ku ebyo omukulembeze w'eggwanga byeyakoonyeko sisobodde kubanga nkuwa details zonna nga bwe yabyogedde kimu ku kimu naye ate nsobodde okubanga nkuwaako ebimu ku ebyo ate bye yasobodde okubanga akoonako kakati awo nawo nno nvuddewo nga ngenza ate kuba oludda oluvuganya gavumenti bano nno munnange basazeewo kubanga bazira ate okwogera ku omukulembeze w'eggwanga olunaku olw'eggulo munnange kino nno kyakakasiddwa leader of opposition ate ono nno ye Honorable Mathias Mpuuga era nga yategeezezza nti munnange kino nno kigenda kugendera ddala mu maaso ate ne mu kusoma embalirira y'eggwanga kuno nno kugenda kubaawo sabbiiti ejja ate olunaku olwokusatu yategeezezza nti munnange kikyamu okukaka abagenda okwetaba mu mikolo gino okukeberebwa ekirwadde kya COVID-19 okusaasaanyizibwako ensimbi ate ennyingi ennyo so nga baagala ate munnange n'okulaga obutali bumativu munnange eri president ku bantu baabwe ate abazze bakwatibwa bwenjogera nno ku COVID-19 nabadde ndaba ate olunaku olw'eggulo Dr. Diana Atwine ng'ataddeyo post nti president w'eggwanga Yoweri Kaguta Museveni yamaze okuba nga testinga positive n'ekirwadde kino ekya COVID-19 oba muyite lumiima mawuggwe so mbakubiriza munnange twekuume tuddemu ate okwambala masks tomanye ekirwadde kino kiyinza okuba nga nakyo kyagala kuddamu kwegirisiza mu ggwanga erya Uganda naye tubeere ng'ate munnange twebereramu era nga n'okwogera kw'omukulembeze w'eggwanga ku lunaku olw'eggulo abamu ku abo ababaka ba paalamenti ababaddeyo munnange bavuddeyo nga beewuunaganyiza ddala ku nsonga ez'enjawulo ze yakoonyeeko okunno ku ensonga gye basinze okuba nga boogerako ensonga y'ebyokwerinda awamu ate n'obuweereza obw'ababaka munnange nga bagamba nti ebintu ebimu ku ebyo bye babadde bamusobera okuba nga akoonako teyabyogeddeko naye ng'ate munnange abamu bagamba nti kukangavvula abo abenyigidde ate mu mivuyo egy'obulyake munnange omukulembeze w'eggwanga nti teyakyogeddeko bulungi oba oliawo bo badde balina ebirala bye badde baagala okubanga bawulira naye ng'ate bagambye nti munnange omukulembeze w'eggwanga newankubadde yayogedde naye ate era waliwo ebimu byatayogeddeko bulungi oba byatalambuluddeko bulungi naye era ne bategeeza nti munnange era ne mu kwogera kwe yawadde ne solutions era n'ategeeza kyekyetaaga okubanga kikolebwa ate eggwanga lyaffe okubanga litambulira ddala bulungi nnyo. Ku ddakiika 16 ezakayita ku ssaawa 2 ez'amakya g'olunaku olwaleero enaatera okubanga mpunzika updates zaffe olw'ensonga nti omugenyi waffe yamaze dde okubanga atwegattako naye nga mawulire amalala mu Nakatemba ate era ng'ono abadde muyimbi ate nga munnange era munnabyabufuzi njogera kwani omugenzi kati Honorable Paul Katolo Bwama ono nno munnange enteekateeka z'okubanga aziikibwa zo zaafulumidde era nga wakuziikibwa sabbiiti ejja ku lunaku olwokusatu. Kigambibwa nti yalaama okubanga munnange wabanga avudde mu bulamu bw'ensi alekebwangawo ennaku 7 ate nga tannaba kubanga aziikibwa naye ng'ate mu nnaku 7 zino abalina okubanga munnange bakuba ennyimba ze. So kigambibwa nti ebimu ku byamuviiriddeko okubanga afa kwe kuba nti munnange yakozesezza amaanyi mangi okuba nti akuba ebikonde ebyo byadda kuba mu bbanga nga yeewerera alien skin bwe kigambibwa so tekinnaba kubanga kikakasibwa so kino era ne bategeeza nti kino kiyinza okuba nga kyekyaviiriddeko ate pressure okulinnya munnange ate embeera neetaba nnungi era ng'ono yaddisiddwa mu ddwaliro erya Stana Medical Center eno nno gye yasirizza omukka ogw'enkomerero era nga munnange mubiri gwe gwakutwalibwako ku National Theatre olunaku lujja kuba lwa Monday ate aveeyo munnange bateekateeka okuba nga bamusabira awo nno munnange bwe bajja okuva bagenda ate ono nno gy'agenda okuba nga aziikibwa. So bwe bityo bwe byavudde esayidi eyo naye nga abantu ab'enjawulo Nakatemba abayimbi kuno okugattako n'abamu ku bannabyabufuzi bamaze dde okuba nga beeyiwa mu maka ge ate okwongera okuba nga munnange bamukungubagira awo nvuddewo ate munnange ngendeko kugulira eddala ekitongole ky'amazzi ekya National Water gye buvuddeko kyali kyasalako amazzi mu malwaliro aga gavumenti ag'enjawulo nga Entebbe grade B nalyo eddwaliro lino nalyo munnange mwolitwalidde olunaku olw'eggulo bazizzaako ate amazzi mu malwaliro ga gavumenti wonna bwe babadde bagajjako olw'ensonga ey'ebbanja era nga minisita w'ebyobulamu Dr. General Sacheng yategeezezza nti munnange omwezi guno we gunaggweerako bajja kubanga ate bamaze okubanga bafuna solution ku nsonga eno nabutya sente zino bwe zigenda okubanga munnange zisasulwa. So era awo nabo bwenvaawo nsonga za byabulamu zenkyaliko abasawo abamu abalindiridde okubanga bagezesebwa olunaku olw'eggulo bategese okwekalakaasa nga ku bano 3 bakwatiddwa naye ng'ate waliwo be balemesezza okubanga munnange batuuka ku ministry ey'ebyobulamu nga bawakanya ekya gavumenti okulwawo ate okubasindika mu malwaliro gye balina okwongera okubangukira oba okugezesebwa. Ekibinja ekimu kwekyo ekyabadde kyekalakaasa poliisi yakisazeeko nga nno bano abakyali ku mulyango oguyingira eddwaliro ery'emulago era nga munnange waliwo abamu ku bo abatambudde ate ne batuukira ddala ku ministry ey'ebyobulamu era ate munnange andi batwalayo okwemulugunya kwabwe naye ate yo ministry y'ebyobulamu bwe yabazzeemu munnange yabategeezezza nti nabo munnange basobola okubanga batandika okwesasulira ebisale ate nno basobole okubanga bagezesebwa. Kinajjukirwa nti Dr. Diana Atwine gye buvuddeko yavaayo n'ategeeza nti ministry sente eziyambako abasawo bano okubanga bagezesebwa zo tebazirina kubanga sente mpitirivu nnyo naye nga ate bakyakola kyonna ekisoboka okulaba nga bafuna sente ezo ate basobole okubanga bayambako abayizi bano. So agonno ge mawulire nago agavudde ate esaidi eyo natera okubanga mpoze updates zaffe omuliro gutannategeerekeka aje gwavudde olunaku olweggulo gwasaanyizaawo ennyumba z'abasirikale mu nkambi ya poliisi ey'oku luguudo olwakira okukkakkana nga munnange ebintu ebiwerako ate abizikiridde mu muliro guno. Ekigambibwa nti omuliro gwatandise ku ssaawa 5 ez'okumakya naye ng'ate tebalina kintu kyonna kye bataasiza olw'ensonga nti abasirikale ba poliisi munnanga ate tebabadde tebabaddewo okusobola okubanga bataakiriza omuliro guno naye nga ye amyuka omwogezi wa poliisi mu Kampala n'emiriraano Luke Owesigire yavuddeyo ate n'abaako ensonga ez'enjawulo zayogera ku muliro guno nabiki ebyaguviiriddeko. So ebyo nno nabyo bwe byatambudde esayidi eyo kakati awo nawo munnange ngenda kubanga nvaawo mpunzike n'eggulire lino ekibiina ekitaba abavuga biri kululana ebitwala ebyamaguzi mu ggwanga erya South Sudan basabye gavumenti ya South Sudan ate munnange okwettanira enteeseganya okumalawo ate enkaayana wakati waabwe nga kino kibaviiriddeko nnyo okubanga abamu bafiirwa obulamu bwabwe ate munnange n'okubanga emmotoka ezeetissa obuwunga zikwatibwa. So gono nago amawulire bwe gato bwe gavudde esayidi eyo ngenda kubanga nga wonzekera wano ago segagenza into details naye ngenda kubanga mponzekera wano ate tugende mu kuwumulamu ko katono nnyo bwe tukomawo ngenda kubanga neegattibwako omukulu Rogers Tulyahabwe n'omugenyi waffe olunaku olwaleero Engineer Kwesiga Dickson tusobole okubanga ate tugayagaya mu nsonga ezikwatagana ku butonde bw'ensi consequences of plastic abuse to the environment bichi ebiyinza okuvaawo ate munnange bwe tukozesa obubi plastics zino n'okukosa obutonde bw'ensi betugenda kubanga twogerako so katuwumulemu katono nnyo bwe tukomawo mighty drive egenda kubanga egenda maaso ng'ate twogera ku nsonga nga bwe nzikutegeezeza. Good morning.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Are you craving for that special meal that will entice your taste buds and leave you with lasting thrilling memories? Look no further. Spice Island Bulenga has got your answer. Natural, fresh and delicious juice, the best meals. Don't miss our daily specials from Monday to Sunday. Pizza Wednesday, Saturday Pizza Bonanza, you buy one and take two. Come dine with us and feel the experience. We are located at Prime Shopping Center in Bulenga, Mitiana Road. For inquiries, call us on 0704111720. Spice Island, we treat your cravings. Beautiful people, you're welcome to the Snap Talk with your girl Teddy Tenjo every Saturday right from 6 to 7.
Napo zino twajirwa flat tami. Tukyayambala ko kugoyo obutukwata. Wajana ku body shaming. Speak up. Gendo ba confronting. Obagambe ekyo kyemukola si kirungi.
Towerabira nti tuli wano ku the Alternative Digitalk mukwano gwange gwaliye. Topic kiji wandiyagadde twogereko. Is it about family?
Nekati tata wange amanyera nkola n'obuvunanyizibwa nyina bungi. Era agezaako n'anyamba yambako yanda.
Naye kumukubira kumubuuzaako. Noga mama we bali kunzaala.
Is it outside family? Is it society? Oh, could it be relationships?
Come and visit me. Simanyanga I miss you bichi. especially ng'embeera y'obudde si nnungi.
naye n'omuntu akwagalira mu season aba takwagala ze nkubuulira.
Just be commenting nga topic yona gyandiyagadde twogereko tujjako tujogera kwano ku the alternative Digitalk ku share enganzi the snap talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digitalk brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Go to the church, though.
Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, recorder. Do you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk.
A very good morning, viewers. Thank you so much for keeping it. The Alternative Digitalk. It is the Mighty Drive, and I am Princess Luo de Lilian. With me is Rogers Turiahaba with our guest of the day, Engineer Kwesiga Dickson, and he is the CEO Aquila Recycling. We are going to be talking about the consequences of plastic abuse to the environment. But before we dive into the discussion of the day, let me take this opportunity to welcome you on the show. We are live on our Facebook pages, that is the Alternative Uganda and Digitalk TV on Facebook. So if you want to be part of the discussion, you can just go in and drop in your comment. We'll be reading it before we come to the end of the show. And our YouTube channel is the Alternative Uganda. So one thing I want you to do for us is to subscribe to our YouTube channel and then like our Facebook pages. Follow us on all social media platforms. Twitter, we are there. Instagram, we are there. So you can find us on all social media platforms, and then we can be able to get in touch. For those who want to advertise with us, you can also do the same. Our quote of the day is, we learned that economic growth and environmental protection can and should go hand in hand. We learned that economic growth and environmental protection can and should go hand in hand. Nti munange economic growth oba okulakulana kwensi ate n'okuuma obutonde bw'ensi bino nno birina okuba nga bitambulira wamu. Bwe tusoosowaza ekirala ate munnange kibeera affected. Bwe tusoosowaza obutonde bw'ensi tetujja kuba nga ate tukulaakulana, naye ate munnange bwe tusoosowaza enkulaakulana obutonde bw'ensi ate munnange tuba tubusaanyizaawo. So bino birina kuba nga bitambulira wamu, buli kimu kitambula ne kinnaakyo. So weebuuze munnange ekyo kyekikoleddwa ye ggwe nga ggwe bwe kituuka ku kukuuma obutonde bw'ensi kikyokoze. Right now buli wootambula oba buli wookuba amaaso olina plastic gy'olaba, either kaveera oba kacupa. Naye nga weebuuze munnange ekintu ekitwala emyaka egisoba mu 45 okubanga kidecomposing obanga ate kivunda bwe emyaka gino gyonna 45 nga teginnaggwako, ate ensi yaffe ejja kusigala etya, ate ettaka lyaffe linaabeera litya. So twekuba mu torch ffe nga ffe, what have we done? Because I believe each one of us has a role to play, but ask yourself, have you played that role that you're supposed to play? Awe tugenda okuba nga tutambuliriza discussion yaffe olunaku olwaleero. So kanyanirize mukulu Roger studio habwe atulamuseeko, then ate ayanirize n'omugenyi waffe olunaku olwaleero. Good morning, Rogers.
Good morning, Lillian, and ladies and gentlemen, it's a very great honor yet again to be here this morning. My name is Roger Studiabwe, and today we have a gentleman who is an expert in some of the things that I like. And you did see the short video that was played on this show's beginning. It's about plastics and what the consequences are and how we have normalized a lot of things. Now, we did celebrate the World Environment Day on the 5th of June.
Yes.
And according to a few statistics, apparently 400 million tons of plastics are released every year.
Yeah.
And half of that is designed for single use, so it means after use, you throw it away. So in light of all of that and the consequences, of course, of plastic pollution, I do not want to preempt the discussion. So he's going to first tell us what the impacts are. So I won't tell you myself. He's going to be doing that because he's good at that. And of course, he's going to give us an idea on what Aquila does, how did that come about, and what does he hope to solve with Aquila Recycling. So I invite you, sir, to say good morning to our viewers and begin it at that.
Good morning, viewers. I'm Engineer Dickson Kwesiga from Aquila Recycling, one of the recyclers in Uganda. We buy waste plastic, we process it, and we sell it as a raw material, and finally it's used for new products. That is what we do. Today we'll be talking about plastic. I've been doing this for about 10 years. So I've interacted with the different levels of plastic use, and it's a pleasure to be at for this show.
We clearly have the right person. 10 years is quite a number. So what about Aquila exactly?
So Aquila has set up a facility for recycling plastic. Like I indicated before, we buy waste plastic. Now, there are 7 categories of plastic. The ones that are recyclable are not 7. Some are not recyclable easily, but we buy from collectors, from pickers, even from individuals. And we have an extended line that processes, and the process is a bit long. We sort, we segregate, then we crush, we wash, we dry, we extrude, and then we have flakes and pellets that we sell as raw material. So briefly, that is Aquila Recycling. That's what we do.
Where did this idea come from? What actually pushed you to start Aquila Recycling?
Okay, my background, I'm an engineer. I'm a mechanical engineer.
Okay.
I've worked with a number of manufacturers. Along the way, I went into transportation, trucking. So we were moving product of manufacturers from one point to the other. So we're doing it for one of the biggest bottlers of water. And in the process, I realized that, yes, we're moving product, but at that point, there was only one factory that was recycling. And I felt that I could do more than just transport. So we did research about what options were there to recycle or even reuse this plastic, but at least divert it from the landfill. So we birthed the idea, we put ideas together, put a team together, brought in machines, and we started. Now, it is not as easy as that. It's been a long process of learning, mistakes here, learnings there, up to this point. And we're at a point where, yeah, after 10 years, you feel that now you're a bit more stable. But that is how we started.
Okay. What are some of the achievements that Aquila Recycling has been able to reach up to?
I think the biggest achievements that we have, one is on diverting waste.
Okay.
At this point in time, we are able to divert up to 5 tons of waste plastic per day.
Wow.
Per day?
Yes, per day.
Here in Uganda?
Yes, here in Uganda.
Okay.
And you should visit the facility.
We surely will.
So 5 tons is 5,000 kilograms. And to give a context, 1 kilogram of plastic, when you take mineral water bottles, that is 50 bottles.
50 bottles?
50 bottles will make just 1 kilogram.
Oh, 1 kilogram?
Yes.
And then 1,000 kilograms is 1 ton?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So that is, you will find a hill of plastic, but after 2 days it's gone. So we churn out, we divert all that. It would have ended in on the streets. Actually, I challenge people. If you walk a kilometer, yes, you will find Kavera, but most probably on the street you will find a person picking with the plastic on the back.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that is because we have created demand for waste. So because there is demand for waste, they are willing to go and pick it. Now when it rains in the gutters, if you will notice, people are willing to go into the gutters and pick plastic. Now the dilemma we have is that they pick bottles. They don't pick Kavera.
That's where I was coming.
So there is, and we will talk about that, but that is one of the benefits that we have. We have generated demand for waste plastic. And that is we feel is a big achievement. Then 2, we give them employment. You have, when you're processing 4 or 5 tons a day, we have a line that is automatic, but you also have manual work and you have employees. It varies, but it goes up to 50 people at the facility, and that is a contribution.
It is.
Now, that is directly. Those are people that we pay daily, weekly, monthly. But that aside, the waste pickers, the collectors, you've seen trucks on the road overflowing with plastic. So we feel that we have contributed to the income of these people. We have ladies that have to look after families. So employment is another benefit that we have. Yeah. And
okay, so I did want to ask about, because you're doing plastics, most of it is in the plastic bottles.
Yes.
And you did hint, of course, on the Kavera, and I said I'm coming to that. How about that? What do you do about that one?
So we have a dilemma in Uganda. We have a law that bans manufacture of Kavera. But we know that the Kavera is there.
Yeah.
It is. Produced every day at that.
Yes. So the dilemma that we have is, if you attempt to start recycling, you'll have police, you'll have NEMA coming for you because you're breaking the law. But it is out in the public. So that is the biggest challenge. Even if I wanted to, I would be going against the law because I'm manufacturing Kavera that is outlawed. That is the first one. The second dilemma that we have is that Kavera, because it's light and flexible, and that's why government was talking about 50 microns, the light one accumulates a lot of contamination. Soil, water. So the processing for that Kavera is a lot more extensive.
Wow.
So yes, even if I wanted to, the processing is more expensive. And in this business of ours, we don't have government backing. The feeling is that we are making a killing.
Yeah.
So they let the market run on its own. So yes, we help the environment, but we also are running a business. We are not in position to do something that is, one, illegal, and then two, will be loss-making. So that is the dilemma we have with Kavera. And if government can come in and intentionally handle the problem of Kavera, then we'll have gone a long way in this battle of plastic abuse. If you go to any landfill, even pitches, and you dig just a bit, what you find is Kavera.
Mostly, yes.
And those, like she was saying, are the consequences of having plastic out in the environment. So the question is, how do we divert it from ending up in the environment? And that's the bigger question.
And the bigger question, the answer you have provided for the plastics, not Kavera, yes. This time is recycling.
Kavera is also plastic, but it needs special attention.
It does. It does. It's more actually problematic in my view, but the government has sort of used the laissez-faire approach.
Yes.
It's a public secret. It's out. We carry it every time, every second.
Yes.
Everyone is carrying a Kavera, but they cannot accept someone to recycle it or do something in that sense. So I think it's something we also need to think about. Now, I want to understand, in that environment of enforcement and the law, but you also know that the market is open to selling Kavera. What do you think we can do in that sense?
We need to take a bold stand as a country. Either we ban it or we don't. It can't be, you can't have it either way. So you see, we're talking about Kavera, we are not talking about PET, that's the mineral water bottles, because it's illegal to produce, it's illegal to recycle. So it is not a big menace. The stand is clear. For Kavera, it is illegal to produce, but it is out in the open. If we gave a responsibility to people to produce, even if you said it is only these plants that will manufacture, and you gave them a responsibility to recycle as much as they produce, then you will not have a big challenge. So hiding under the blanket of we've banned Kavera is not a solution. It's not an end in itself, because even if we banned it today, there's already Kavera in the environment. Yes. So it has to be two-way. What do we do with what is already existing, and what do we do going forward?
That's true.
Yes. It may call for funding from government or from the producers. The beauty of legalizing the manufacture is that now you know who is manufacturing.
Also, you can hold them accountable.
You can hold them accountable.
Yeah.
I have a background in telecommunication. For every call you make, every shilling, every 100 shillings that an operator, telecom, makes, 2 shillings goes to UCC.
100.
2 shillings
goes to UCC.
Yes.
Okay.
So that fund goes to extend communication to rural areas. If you tasked the producers of plastic to contribute, and it accumulates. We've been talking about the mineral water bottles. 1 kilogram is 50 bottles. If you tasked them and said for every bottle you produce, put aside 5 shillings, there will be funding enough to support recycling or reuse. And then you will be able to get plastic out of the environment as opposed to looking away. So let us get back on the table. I'm sure government would be able to find who the manufacturers are and then discuss with them. And I think they're more than willing to have that discussion.
But is it even feasible to ban plastics in Uganda?
Now that is a political question. There is politics around banning it. We know it's been banned in our neighboring countries and it is being enforced. I think beyond banning, you need to look at enforcing. So yes, it's possible to ban because it's been banned, but is it possible to enforce? And I think if there was political will, it can be enforced.
Most of the times we look at leaders or we point at leaders whenever something goes wrong.
Yes.
We don't normally look at the citizens' role. So have the citizens played a role when it comes to protection of the environment and eliminating plastics in the community?
That's a good question. There are 2 ways to look at it. The first one is options, and the second one is culture. So when you go to the supermarket, I go to the supermarket, and of course they want to help me.
Yes.
And they want to pack in as many caveras as possible. They'll put, I think, toiletries in one cavera, food in another cavera, and then this one fills up, then they fill in another cavera. And usually I will tell them, no, let's try to use just this. But there are no options. We have tried paper packaging before. When they had just banned cavera, supermarkets went to paper packaging. Now paper packaging is a bit more expensive.
Yes, compared to the cavera.
Compared to the cavera.
Yeah.
If we banned cavera completely and there was no cavera, of course you have to package. You have no alternative. So you will go to paper. And we have manufacturers here who had actually set their models around the ban. But the way we know Uganda, enforcement didn't happen. So we went back to cavera. So the option, if I went to the supermarket and I was presented with paper and a cavera, for example, I may opt for paper. But the norm is that you don't pay for packaging. Although we know in some big supermarkets here, you pay for packaging. And people will willingly pay. But if that was standard across and people had an option, I think we have people who are literate enough to go for paper. So let's present the options. 2 is culture. We have grown up knowing that you pick whatever you pick, take home, put in the dustbin. You don't segregate. You don't segregate. So to be able to change that culture, there has to be an awareness campaign. It has to be intentional. It may not be done by the recycler, may not be done by the manufacturer, most probably government. We have government bodies, we have NEMA, we have KCCA. If we made people aware that plastic can be recycled, food waste is different from soil, it has value when you segregate, then maybe people would segregate. My experience is that garbage collectors, when they come to your home and pick garbage, the first thing they do is attempt to segregate. They pick out valuables.
Yeah.
You would make it easier for them if you have already segregated. Actually, people are willing to buy segregated waste. If you put waste plastic aside and put it at the gate and say this is for sale, the men who carry on the back will come and they will take it. We know that glass used to be taken. There was a period before they were called chupadebe. They would walk around with wheelbarrows. They will have fruits. You give them a chupa, they give you maybe an orange or something. So that was barter trade, but they were taking waste. They were taking waste. So if we got into... Yes. So the dilemma we have is, this waste has value. How do we make people aware and close the loop? Now, at the factory, we buy big quantities. But, so at your home, what you have is maybe a kilo. You may not be able to bring it to the factory. But there is a system. If people knew that they could come to your home and pick just plastic, they would be more than willing to do that. Either for free or they would pay you. But the culture we have is I pay for garbage collection.
Yeah.
So I tell people, Aquila Recycling is not a garbage collection company. And we get calls. People say, we have garbage, how much do we pay? We are not a garbage collection company. We are a waste management company. So if we look at waste as valuable, then the whole concept changes. And whether it is plastic, whether it is metals, even organic waste, once it has value, then the value chain changes. Yeah. So how you can contribute, one is segregate, segregate your waste, and then it will go to the right place. But for as long as waste is garbage, then you reduce the possibility of it being recycled.
Yeah, because everything is a mix-up.
Everything is a mix-up,
yes.
And there is contamination. So we have to put in more to remove the contamination.
So let me ask you, just before you go to a short break, you use recycling as a solution.
Yes.
How sustainable is it?
Oh, it is very... I'll give you an example. For plastic, PET. So I said there are 7 categories. PET is mineral water bottles. It is the biggest. So what happens with PET is that they recycle it into polyester. So when you buy a cloth and there is 60% polyester and 40% cotton, that polyester, most of it is recycled PET.
Oh.
The stuffing that they put in dolls, if you open up a doll, that soft thing, that is recycled PET. The stuffing in pillows, cushions, most of it is recycled PET. The demand outweighs the supply. Right now, I have more orders than I can meet for the recycled plastic. So is it sustainable? Yes. And you can do that over and over again.
So,
the problem is, how do we get this plastic to the recycler? So that is PET. You have jerry cans. Now, PET and Kavera are single use. That is why it is so much in abundance. But there is jerry cans, basins, plastic is all over the place. But why we don't have an accumulation is because either, like for a socket, you place it and you leave it. And because of its properties, it takes long to decompose. it could be there for 400 years. Now, because it is in use, it is not waste, it's not a problem. The problem with single use is that the moment you drink water, it has become waste.
Yeah.
So the most ideal place is to go into the environment. So how do we divert that? And that is why we feel recycling is one of the best options. Of course, you have reuse. The other option is not to use the plastic at all. But the way we are moving, we are at a point where we may not be able to go back. For soda, they used to use glass. And whenever you'd buy soda, you would leave a deposit.
For the return of the bottle?
Yes, returnable. It is called returnable glass. But the economics around that glass compared to the bottle, it is a lot more cost effective to use plastic. So we may not be able to go back. The question is, like she was saying, how do we move both together? We use it, but we don't have it pollute the environment.
Okay, we're going to go in for a very short commercial break. When we come back, I want us to begin from there. Because even single use eventually becomes throwaway.
Yes.
The problem is throwaway. Because even the cushions, those things, when they grow old, people just feel like this is useless, you just throw out. And those plastics, even those smallest particles, of course, have an effect on the environment. So what solutions do we have for that long term? Yeah, so we're going to begin from that. Let's go in for a very short commercial break. When we come back, we're going to continue that same discussion and trying to find solutions for the plastic pollution. The campaign for this year, World Environment Day, was Beat Plastic Pollution. That was the campaign. And so we're trying to find a solution here. And Aquila provides one of them, which is recycling. There's reuse, recycle, and reduce, yes. So his is recycle particularly. But we want to explore how are the long-term effects or impacts of recycling, and what can we do to make it better. Let's come back.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kiza Besuje.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
Looking for a pair of shoes? Less Hub Stores has a wide range of selection for unisex footwear. We have the best quality of all brands at pocket-friendly prices and with neck deliveries countrywide. Just place your order or reach us on 0772 08 0090. You can also check up at Less Hub Stores on all our social media platforms. Less Hub, craft your own footprints.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Quoted church,
Tawali man, what's up?
Man, can you imagine people just dump everywhere? Someone drinks water and throws the bottle wherever.
Come on, Rogers. What else do you expect people to do with an empty bottle?
Simanya now, did you know that plastics take at least 450 years to decompose?
What? That's a long time.
Exactly. Because plastics are made out of a lightweight and flexible material that doesn't decompose easily. And plastics everywhere in the environment cause plastic pollution.
What is plastic pollution now?
It is the accumulation of plastic waste in the environment, like bottles, polythene bags, straws. All of these contribute to plastic pollution.
I have been using them without knowing their effect.
Yeah, a lot of people have. Plastics are a danger to the ecosystem, both on land and in water.
So how can we overcome this problem? Is there something we can do?
Oh yes, we can reduce by minimizing the use of plastics, reuse by repurposing them, or recycle by collecting and processing them into new products.
Everyone wants to change the world, but no one wants to change themselves for the world.
How about we change our habits for the world?
And it starts with me and you.
This message is brought to you by Alternative Digitalk.
You're welcome back from that short commercial break, ladies and gentlemen. As you see, the message ended with, the solution is me and you. The beating plastic pollution is a thing that we collectively have to do. None of us is going to achieve it individually. Even if you said as a country want to beat plastics, it may not be as easy because these things need just collective action. Everyone needs to do their part in making sure that this ends. But as we were going off, I was asking the engineer, we are doing recycling, and it's a good idea. It's a solution to some extent. But even those recycled products that you repurpose it, it becomes another thing. Eventually, the end product is it goes back in the environment. How do you think we can counter that problem to make sure that plastics are not a problem at all?
Okay. We want to reduce the impact as much as possible. The impact of waste, of plastic, as much as possible. So if I divert single use to long-term use, then I have reduced the impact. So I'll paint a picture. A mineral water bottle, after I've taken my 500 mils, is waste.
Yes.
And the ideal, what happens now is throw it.
Yeah.
Now, if that bottle can be recycled and becomes polyester, it becomes polyester is fiber.
Yeah, the fiber that is in clothes.
The fiber in clothes, the fiber in stuffing in dolls and pillows. So if the mineral water bottle ends up as stuffing in a pillow, it will be there possibly for 5 years before it becomes waste. So when you compare that with single use, I believe I will have reduced on the impact of that bottle on the environment.
Okay.
So yes, I may not eliminate, because even as in the pillow, it will not be there for 400 years. But because I've extended its use, I have contributed to the reduction of the pollution. So I want to first talk about reduction before we talk about elimination. Yeah.
Okay, that's reasonable, because a big part of it is even clothes. These ones have an effect on the environment themselves.
Yes.
But the only beauty is, even when we have the fast fashion and there's too much heaps and landfills with clothes, you won't find it everywhere like you find plastics and caveras. The reason might be that at least a cloth, you'll wear it for a month or a year at most.
For years, actually.
Or years for some people, or years. So even when it goes back and it has an effect, you're reducing the magnitude of it because of the longevity. So
even the issue of single use, when you don't need it, someone else will use it.
Yeah.
So a shirt, maybe you feel the collar is not good enough, someone else will be comfortable putting it on. So either you give it away or you take it to the landfill and they will pick it out and put it on. So that is the difference between single use and long use. So you will not find clothes in the landfill. Although there will be, finally it will end up in the environment as fine particles, which are also impacting the environment,
Yeah, they have an impact.
although not to an extent of
plastics.
Kavera or PET. So if we can be able to divert as much single use as possible, then we are doing a favor to the environment. Anywhere you look around, you will see plastic in use.
Yeah.
But it's not necessarily waste because it's not single use. It's not yet at that point where it is waste. So plastic per se may not be a problem, but the abuse is the problem.
Okay, I'm going to ask you something about the video that they played when, we acted. That Ted says, what do you expect someone to do with a plastic bottle?
With an empty bottle.
With an empty bottle, yes, thank you. And I feel like a lot of people, when you say, you talk about plastics, plastic waste, don't throw away, someone's going to ask you, what do you expect me to do with an empty bottle? Exactly what do you want someone to do with an empty bottle? So I want you to first give us sort of an exploration of what options there can be to make sure that empty bottle is actually useful or is not just thrown away when someone is done taking the water or soda.
Okay, thank you. I talked about awareness. You need to know that this plastic can have value. And that is the first point. For as long as you hold something of value, the way you treat it is different. I'll give an example for old phones, smartphones. You have a phone, it is not charging, or the screen is cracked, it is not lighting, it's not working. But you're not finding it on the street. You hold on
Where
to
do
it.
they go? Yeah.
You keep it either in a drawer or in your bedroom or somewhere. You have this feeling that it has value. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
So you give it some level of attention. Now, I want to challenge. Go and collect a sack of plastic, just plastic. Put it outside your gate. After 2 days, it will not be there. Someone will have seen value in it and taken it away. What does that mean? It means because we don't attach value to plastic, we don't take care of it. So you dump it with everything else, and then it goes. You don't care what happens to it. But if we attached value and kept it, then there are options available. I don't think you can move more than 1 kilometer without finding a collection point for waste. These are always on the roadside. They buy waste. Now, we've had issues before because they buy metal, and the metal that they buy usually is not waste. They steal signposts and take their wheelbarrows. Same with jerry cans. If you put a jerry can outside, you'll not find it. So these collection points have done a big part of diverting waste. Now, because they're informal, you will not find them being celebrated. But we buy from collectors. I don't go out looking for plastic. They bring it to the factory. And who brings it? It's the collectors. So the first thing you can do is appreciate that plastic has value. Then 2, segregate it. Put it aside. Find a collector. If you can't, give us a call. We know collectors in the different areas. We can always direct you or send a collector to come and pick this from you. And they may be able to pay. I say they may because plastic is bulky. So if they are going to transport it, the cost of transport versus the value they are getting, you may not get a lot.
Yeah.
So they may, if the quantities are big, they may pay you for it, but you will not pay to dispose. You should not pay to dispose waste plastic because it has value.
Okay.
And there is already infrastructure for recycling that plastic.
Is a way plastic way simplifying them all, because you're not going to move around with a bottle of soda in a talia plastic. Most of the time,
Yes.
Unlike a plastic bottle where someone moves around with it, them at any point. But on that issue, these places where they collect plastics from, no sanganga, there are places where tuma, all that plastic, all those plastic bottles, but don't you think kino kirimu promoting oba kino kirimu kuongeza demand ya plastics katale, because someone will look at those people abafunamo in that way nti bazikunganya and then they pile them up somewhere where nebazirete wamwe muzi recycling and all that. So don't you think nti kino kirimu kuongeza demand ya plastics katale, and how do we go about that okuba nti at least waliwo kendeezaamuko, because oli bwana atunulira omuntu ono afunamu, they will be like, okay, no naye no okufuna wajja ekikumi.
Okay, bintu bibiri. Lwaki bakozesa plastic okupackaginga? Usually bakozesa mu kupackaginga amazzi, soda.
And then these will vary as into wogenda somewhere to buy something
mu supermarket. Yeah. Kati characteristics enkolwa ya plastic ono kalwawo kagumira embeera y'obudde.
Yeah.
So manufacturer bw'aba ayagala kupackaginga product ye ekinaamwanguyira plastic, tajja kulowooza gye kakomye oba bafunamu ba tebafunamu, ye mu process ye bw'atuuka ku process y'okupackaginga ekyangu aba plastic. So tekisinziira nnyo ku oli agenda okufunamu, eri mu process. Plastic ono ayina bingi byesinga ku glass, ayina bingi byesinga ku metal.
Nti plastic wa mugaso nnyo singa ku glass ne metal oba
properties zaayo.
Okay.
Properties. So metal erustinga. So bw'oba ogenda kukola metal olina okukola ng'ali stainless, tarustinga, asobola okulwawo ekitali ku plastic.
Yeah.
Glass acrackinga, ate bw'acrackinga bwe kiba kyakunywa oba kyakulya kiba kya bulabe. Toyinza kunywa soda ng'avudde mu glass nga yacrackinze.
Yes.
So plastic ayina properties yo nga yo emuletera okukolebwa, okukozesebwa. So bajja kugenda mu maaso nga bamukozesa olw'ebyo. Era kyova ne government bwe yali ebbaninga yagamba tubaninzeeko ono naye ono tumuleke. Babaninga less than 50 microns, ke kaveera akali light ennyo, naye akaveera akali thick oba obucupa bo tebabubaninga. Lwa properties tubyetaaga. Cardboard eno kuba n'abafunamu bayamba, kati ye ajja ng'omaze okukozesa tafaayo plastic omukozesezza ki.
Yes.
Ye asanga akacupa oba kidomola nga tekikyakola n'akitwala. So ye akozesa kyasanzeewo. Bw'ataasangewo cupa ajja kusanga ekidomola, bw'ataasangewo plastic ajja kusanga ekyuma, kubanga ye kyanoonya kintu kyasobola kutunda. So bwe nzija ne mugamba nze ngula plastic, kyagamba ye ogula plastic omugula meka, n'agenda n'anoonya, tatuuka na ku factory. So bibiri nga byanjawulo. So ono okunoonya obucupa tekireetera manufacturer kukola bungi, byanjawulo.
Okay. You get the awareness, and then I remembered that someone was telling me most of these things, or most of the messages, the mutero kwogera about awareness or kutegeza abantu about the effect of plastics in the society. Ntolose mubikola mu Luzungu, and then there are people who don't understand that language, and those are the people that go ahead debakola bonga bwe basanze kachupa wakasanga akakwata n'akasuda ye wasanze, because ebintu emu yeta bimanye bintu byogerwa mu Luzungu, the language that is used ya Luzungu nnyo. Ogenza nocho kigambe kyo kyerabidde bw'okyogedde kiri kyenzizemu nenkubuuza nti kitegeeza ki, ntoli yetajja kitegeera what it means and what it is all about. So don't you think awareness and the language used needs to change? Nemusofteninga mu muntu nategeera these things.
Kati ekintu kya awareness, ekizibu kye tuyina tuba tukitwala nga abayamba okucommunicatinga. Kati owa business bw'aba anoonya abaguzi n'aweereza message, ajja kugikyusa mu nnimi zonna etuuke buli wamu. Message ya plastic abagiweereza babanga abayamba, teyina nannyini. Nze owa recycling nzija kusaidia business. Manufacturer teri kimukakatako kwogera ku bulabe bwa plastic. Ne government tevuddeyo kimala kwogera ku bulabe bwa plastic. So singa waliwo ekitongole nga responsibility yakyo kwogera ku bulabe bwa plastic, then bandibadde bakibwa obudde.
But we have these government bodies. We have NEMA, you talked about KCCA,
and
then these other organizations as if they craned out of the ways.
Nga bwe ngambye tebakola kimala. Tebakola kimala. Of course, ku World Environment Day bajja kuvaayo bonna boogere ku bulabe bwa plastic. N'ekyo tekimala. Ne mu NEMA, katwogere ku NEMA. Singa tumanyi mbu plastic ya bulabe ekimala, NEMA yandibadde eyina either unit oba department nga bo kye bakolako kwogera ku bulabe bwa plastic, naye nga tobiwumbira mu kasasiro. Kubanga kasasiro bamwogerako, KCC ejja kwogera ku kasasiro, NEMA ejja kwogera ku kasasiro, naye ne NEMA nga yo, according to me, plastic temuwadde budde kumala. Ne bwe bandigambye mbu tutaddewo fund nga yakwogera ku bulabe bwa plastic, nga fund eno bano abakola plastic be bagifundinga, abantu bandivuddeyo. Kyemmanyi waliyo ebitongole ebyandyagadde okwogera ku plastic naye nga tebirina funding. So ne bw'oteekawo obuteesi just funding, n'ogamba buli ayagala okwogera ku bulabe bwa plastic, sente zino message yanditambudde.
Buli omu atandika okwogera ku plastic.
Yes, ate kitwagala. Kitwagala. So I think ffenna tulina okukwatira wamu. One, government eteekawo amateeka. Bw'eteekawo etteeka negamba kubanga tumanyi mbu plastic ono wa bulabe, eyinza okuba nga teyina ssente, tugenda kusaba abakola plastic kubanga bafunamu. bw'oyogera ku bakola amazzi abakola soda bafunamu n'obagamba mu contributing kweno fund. So fund
nga corporate social responsibility yabo maybe
no nga teeka si option kubanga corporate social responsibility ba option n'okola etteeka nga bwe nakunyonyodde before nkirabye mu telecom waliwo etteeka
nti olina kuzaayo this much
percentage buli mwaka bagamba wakoze meka byako bwe ziteeke mu fund ng'eyo fund omulimu gwayo guli known. So n'oteekawo fund yakulwanyisa bulabe bwa plastic sente ne zibeeraawo abajoogerako bajja kuvaayo. Of course fe aba recycling bagamba tukolamu sente ekyo sijagaana
muzikolamu era
sijagaana naye nze responsibility yange ekoma ku kacupa akatuuse ku factory bw'otakaleeta sijagenda mu myala kanoonyaayo naye singa waliwo fund etuusa akacupa ako ku factory kubanga nga bwe nabagambye capacity nyina ne kayinza obutatuuka. Right now tuyinza okubanga turecycling only about 40% ne 60% eragawa. So bw'oteekawo fund one n'okola awareness n'abaana bana abalonda obucupa n'obongeramu amaanyi
n'akasente abaana abo nabo kasente kembawasika ekalya.
Of course
kilo ya mmeka ya plastics
kakati tuli ku 7 kilo ku factory kakati
eno era ataano mwana asitudde kibeera kyama
kati oyo ayinza obutafuna sente za ku factory kubanga tatwala ku factory atwala ku collector ne collector n'aleeta ewaffe so waliwo chain oyinza okusanga nga zafuna ziri wansi
oyinza okusanga afuna sente 3
ekyo sijja kyogerako naye
that is exploitation even.
It is not exploitation kubanga tewali amutumye. Exploitation would be nga omukase yanoonya kyakulya kati ojja kusanga omwana you would be surprised ojja kusanga omukyala ng'atwala ewaka omutwalo olunaku now ojja gamba exploitation naye kuye omutwalo is the difference between sleeping hungry and feeding the children.
Feeding the children does not take away the fact that they are being exploited.
So
but that's another day, topic for another day.
No, kyoyogerako kituufu because how do we empower them? Because do they have protective wear? Osanga nga agenze mu mwala. Alonde sangalo. So who should be empowering omwana ono? Ayambani.
Ayamba fenna.
Ayamba fenna. So fenna tukwatire wamu tulabe mbu akacupa oba akaveera teka endinga mu mwala oba mu kasasiro.
Yes, I don't want to get into that discussion because it's a long one that will not.
No, but it's good to talk.
One that will certainly not end sooner because at the end of the day, I agree. I agree because what they are doing is helping all of us. Although a big part of it is that what they are collecting is coming to your company.
Yes.
So to begin with, you should be the one who has a responsibility to begin with because you directly benefit from what they are doing. Now, indirectly, the rest of us benefit, of course, because if there is no plastics in the environment, it helps all of us. So indirectly, yes, we also benefit, so we need to contribute to that.
So I think if you want to look at the stakeholders, the big stakeholders.
In fact, yes, that I wanted to ask that. Who are the people responsible for all of this and how do we make sure that
let's use the word stakeholders, not responsibility, because a manufacturer will say, it is not my responsibility, I've sold. But they are stakeholder.
They are stakeholders.
Big stakeholder. So tutunulire, because you see, if I close the shop, who would suffer from my closing? So if we look at Coca-Cola, the manufacturer, 1, then 2 is the recycler, then 3, kati bw'ogamba all of us, you're talking about government, because they have a responsibility to all of us.
Yes.
So those are the three stakeholders. If those three went on the table and discussed, I think we'd have a solution. But as it is now, buli omu akola bibye.
It's very fair.
Yes. Buli omu akola bibye. Manufacturer are churning out buchupa. Owakaveera are churning out. Maybe tetubamanyi. Tumanyi.
Tubamanyi. Nabo tubamanyi.
Okay. So bafulumya. Ufe netugamba bwoba okayina kaleete nja kuwa sente. And the fact that nze nkasasulira, I think me I am contributing. Kubanga nkasasulira, because I would say it is waste, it is going to pollute mukampere bwerere. Because I'm helping the environment.
Yes.
But I am willing to pay because I've recognized that I can make value out of it.
Yes.
And then of course government cannot run away from the responsibility. Now, because they see the flow for the 40%, now it ends up at the factory. Actually, if you ask them, they don't know what we do with whatever enters. But because they see it moving, they sit back and say, we've created an enabling environment. But is it actually an enabling environment? So if the three of us sat down and talked, we would have a solution. Because you, the beauty with you is that if they said, and the economy is where they say, if you have not segregated, we will penalize you. That alone is enough. You don't even need to do awareness. Whether it is in Uganda or English, they penalize you today, tomorrow you won't do segregate.
It again. Yeah.
So let us look at these three stakeholders and how we can come together to.
There was a friend who was telling me that what we need to do is to have like these big producers, for example, let's say Coca-Cola, who make, plastic, those plastic bottles for sodas, or Renzori for the plastic waters, all of those companies. They tell you that if you buy here water, they were trying to find a solution. You buy here water, when you're done, the next shop you find, leave it there. So every shop has literally a collection for plastic. So when this boy who is now taking to you is coming through to look for them, they know where to go.
To pick.
So then you won't find it, everyone littering everywhere. But that also might come with the value that you said, that if you say that, at least even if it's 100 shillings, I feel like if I put it to a shop, they will get 100 shillings. Then it becomes easy for people to put there. But I wanted to get to...
Because basasula KCCA okutwala that kasasiro.
No.
So whenever someone comes and dumps there a plastic bottle, alabanga gwayongera ku kasasiro.
No, it's not dumping. Now that goes to what he was speaking of segregation. That plastic is not just waste. Sikasasiro.
And most of the people haven't actually gotten to understand okay, asobola okufuna something from these plastics. Zebabata basudo bakudukali. So oli yebo kasula alanga gwayongera kasasiro gwayina already. So they might not allow you to do that.
Well, that is where
Kati, let me tell you this. If you put a collection center, some people
plastic
call them
collection center,
plastic banks. And I've seen designs that only take in a bottle. Ngazitwalamu just kachupa ngaba balekawo akatuli katono kabuchupa, then bateekamu n'ebifaananyi around that just buchupa oba just plastic n'akaveera. Bw'okola ekyo obwo obuchupa tebujja kusula, bali abaana bajja kujja babutwale. So you will not have the challenge that you're dumping at my place. The question will be, who is going to set them up? Kwanga, there is that initial cost. Who is going to set them up? But if you put it up at your shop, bw'oteekawo collection center y'akaveera y'obucupa oba akaveera ya plastic ku dduuka lyo, bajja katwala. Bajja katwalira bwerere. ekikya KCC okusasula teweetaaga kusasula. Ekizibu ky'onaafuna bw'onaakateekawo bajja kuteekamu n'ebirala. Alidde bogoya naye ajja kusuula omwo. Ekikula kijaamu. But bw'okateekawo bajja bitwala. Yes.
But that would actually be a good idea. I feel like that would may not necessarily take everything out, but it's a good starter. Muntu abera manyinti, but that also means designating places, saying that there's a bank here, there's a bank there. So if you get a bottle in between, you just keep with it, go walk with it, and throw it at the next one. If you have another one, there's another place like that. But that also now needs awareness. It also needs the input of the government, because who's going to set them up, like you said. But I wanted to ask you, you did talk about stakeholders earlier. What do you think about there's this thing they call brand audits, where those corporations, big ones at that, pay for that much as they produce. So now that goes into facilitating where these things go and how collection can be done. Is that something you think that can help?
It could help. What I have seen them do is they'll come to the recycler and they will say, we want to collaborate with you. Then they will sign an MOU. And then in their documents, they will say, by the way, we are working with Aquila Recycling to work with all our plastic waste. Olumu babanga abatuukiriza omukolo. So when you try to assess how much actually gets diverted, it may not be substantial. I know one of the big bottlers actually has a recycling plant. So I'm sure that they recycle, but not everyone does.
Yeah, not everyone.
So if you take it from the point of CSR,
corporate social responsibility, babanga abayamba. Yes.
But it has to go past that to a requirement. Either nga bagenda kubawa license oba buli mwaka nga they are expected to show that they are actually into diverting. It may not be recycling, but diverting waste of plastic from the environment. And I feel that is a government role.
Okay.
Tulina ebintu bino bibiri oluusi ebitulemerera okubalansinga. When I was starting quote gye nasomye ngigamba nti economic growth ne environmental protection have to work hand in hand. Naye ng'ekyo kyo bisobola okutambulira awamu nga tewali kye tulese mabega.
I think kisoboka. It is the willingness of all parties. Osanga omuntu nga individual nga amanyi naddala abatambuddeko nga amanyi mbu plastic ono waliwo abamu recycling. Nfunye amasimu international schools nga bagamba tulina plastic twagala ku recycling. So kisoboka.
Okay.
The question is, ani akidrivinga, ani akikumamu omuliro? Kubanga ba manufacturer being business people, bw'otabatuuzaako kazito tebajja kissaako mutima.
Bakutuuzaako kazito.
Bakutuuzaako kazito
n'omugamba. This problem begins with the manufacturers.
Yes, kubanga you see, bw'otunuulira supply chain, aleeta pellets, n'akola akaveera oba n'akola akacupa, n'akareleasinga, n'akomaawo. N'enkya n'akola akalala, n'enkya. Lwaki? Tafaayo kakomyewa, kagenzeewa. Now, kubanga ye businessman anoonya magoba, ng'ate bino ebintu bigendamu ssente, nateekamu ssente okutandika factory. Bw'oba tomutuuzizzaako kazito tagenda kufaayo. Naye ani amutuuzaako akazito? either abannansi bagambe tulage akacupa ko gye kalaga. Bwe tuba tetumanyi tetujja kunywa product yo oba akaveerako kavuddewa. Eyo option A. Option B, government kukola omulimu gwayo. Akaveera kali ku katale twakabaninga kavuddewa. Bwe banaagenda ne batuuza ku bamanufacturer nga bw'ogambye tubamanyi. Bwe banaagenda ne babatuuzaako akazito kubanga abo bo bamenye etteeka. Bajja kutuula bakkiriziganye either mutukkirize tukakole tujja kakimayo mu katale oba bagende ku birala. Of course bajja gamba investor batadde mu ssente bawa emirimu naye yo discussion mpanvu naye tutandika okukyogerako. Now abo bakaveera tugende ne kuba obucupa tubagambe buli lunaku ofulumya obucupa tani emu bulagawa. Mutandike discussion kubanga ffe kati ene waffe recycling wetuli tuyina capacity. Of course bayinza okwagala okutwongeramu capacity tetukiinaako mutawaana naye tutandikire eno gye kava kasita tukalondoola mpaka gye kakoma then tuba tuclosinze loop. Naye nga bwe kiri kati omu afulumya bufulumya eno ne tulinda ne twentaisinga by paying abantu bagezeeko kanoonya bakaleete. So awo waliwo gap wakati eno gye kava ne gye kalaga.
Osobola tusobola okuva ku, is it realistic to stop the use of plastics generally?
Kakati plastics za mirundi ebiri. Single use we can. Naye plastic as plastic we will not. Emmotoka buli wootunula emmotoka amayumba engoye plastic yajja. It is not realistic to say we have, it may not be possible to say we have stopped using plastic as plastic. You can give an example of anything. Bumper z'emmotoka bw'oggyawo plastic oba ogenze either fiber oba metal,
which is problematic,
which may not feasible economy wise and also sustainability. Ezo motoka amayumba omanyi tukozesa to DPC gwe tukozesa ku foundation to stop water ekyo kiveera oyo plastic. So tuyinza obutalekeraawo kukozesa plastic. Ne single use we may reduce, but if you want to stop, we know countries where bw'oba oyingira ku airport bachekinga akaveerako n'okassa wabbali. And batuli kumpi naye it is possible to ban kaveera. It has happened. Short of that, let us engage and divert as much as possible. That is kaveera. I think it may be possible to ban plastic, although the inconvenience,
it comes at a cost.
It comes at a cost. So if we are willing to bear the cost, yes.
But are we even willing to bear the cost?
That's the problem.
Politics.
That's
now.
where we are.
Politics now. So you see, no muntu wa bulijjo.
Yes.
They may not recognize the impact. So bw'obeera mu economy ng'omuntu anoonya akalulu, n'oggyawo akacupa, amazzi gabadde agula 5 n'atandika okugagula 500, ajja kulowooza omulemesa. So mu kifo ky'okukabaaninga, why don't you bear n'oyongeramu ebibiri for diverting it? Then nekadda, because
so bwetukoocha ng'abantu abamu abookya kasasiro ne bookya obucupa obwo, waliwo effect yonna ku environment?
Yes, nnyo. Kakati
it's called incineration.
Incineration fumes ezifuluma One, research shows that zabulabe ku muntu.
Okay.
Zabulabe ku muntu. Naye ne ku climate, they are not good for the
It's air
climate.
pollution. Also.
It is air pollution. So that one is a no-no. It is heavily discouraged. Mu mawanga gamu, they can even arrest you.
Okocha plastic.
Okocha, yes, plastic. Kati fe tukikola mu butamanya. But it affects human life, but also it affects the climate. Yes.
Okay, abantu abasinga ebintu nga bino munnange bo tebabiwa matu because whenever we talk about plastic pollution or environment pollution, oli achogerera akitekera ddala waggulu. Most of them look at people who are encroaching swamps and all that. N'atafaayo nti akacupa kasudde akambwe kati kayinza okubaako obuzibu bwe kaleeta. But we have a lot of questions here. Abantu bakomentinze nga balina ebibuuzo bye babuuza. Let me start with Nature Narrator. Between plastics and polythene papers, what is more harmful than the other?
Polythene?
Paper.
Okay. I think let me interpret between
plastic,
mineral water bottle
and
akavera. I would say kavera.
Kabinyo singa plastic.
So ekizibu kya kavera is that it's light. So kafuumuuka. Now, boba walundako, you may have had an incident na kavera. Ente bweziri akavera eyinza okufa oba okulwala kati eyo nte, and that is immediate ogirabirawo. Naye n'omuntu, you may have heard that it is not safe to put hot water mu kavera or in plastic. It releases
the
heat.
Microfibers.
Yes, it releases the carcinogenic particles that may be harmful. Actually, tampeko za plastic, they are discouraged. Bwe wetegereza, toyina wona asanga packaginze kintu kyokya mu plastic. Kati mu abamanyi in the formal economy, because when you heat the plastic, it releases those particles. That's why usually it is cold things
in plastics, yes.
More plastic. Now, so that release is easier mu kavera because it is lighter. Plastic, PET, not so much. Ekyo kimu. Ekyokubiri, mu environment, PET obucupa, usually enkuba bwetonya bujja kungulu.
Yes.
So it may be possible to segregate. To
collect them, yes.
Akavera, it may not be the case. Kaveramu ebitaka. It is easy to contaminate. Kati eyo contamination ekatwala wansi. That is why bwolima awabaddenga kasasiro. Usually what you find most is kavera. It doesn't mean that waliwo kachupa. Ne mostly kavera.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nabuziza, that is less up. Agamba, how long can you recycle a plastic? Let's say a bottle, when it's collected and you recycle it, how many times can you recycle that same bottle? And then also during recycling, do you come up with the same product? Let's see, it's a plastic bottle. When you recycle it, do you still come up with a bottle, or this time round you make a basin or cup or whatever?
Okay. Webale nnyo. Ekyo how many times? I think abanga agamba mbu akacupa tugenda kukolamu akacupa.
Ne bw'ogamba recycling.
How many times?
Yeah.
Tujja kukola akacupa emirundi emeka. Naye there is technology for bottle to bottle recycling. Kakati bw'oba ogenda kukola ekintu nga kigendamu ekyokulya, kigenda kuliibwa, the quality requirement is higher kubanga omuntu agenda kuteekamu amazzi aganywe. So the simplest option is to divert it. Akachupa nogenda n'okolamu polyester fiber nebikomawo nga ngoye, stuffing mudole mupiro bwe bityo naye nga tozeemu kukola kacupa. Nga tozeemu kukola kacupa, and mainly because the requirement to make a bottle that is food contact is a lot higher. So economy wise it is easier to use virgin than to use recycle.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Abadde n'ebirala?
Abadde n'ekirala, of course, how many let's say a bottle, when it's collected and you recycle it, how many times can you recycle that same bottle? And then also during recycling, do you come up with the same product?
Abadde abuuza batukolamu amabaafu. Kaakati
oba mwebyo byo recycling so okujjamu ebbaafu oba ebikopo oba
nedda. Kaakati engeri ya plastic ono, akacupa category emu, ebidomola category ndala, amabaafu category ndala,
ebikopo n'amasowa.
Kati waliwo bu disposable nayo yo category ndala.
It's different.
Yes.
Is it not? It's not the same as
plastic bottles.
No. That is PP. Kati waliwo n'akadeeya.
Akadeeya is plastic.
Yes. Nayo plastic ndala. Then bw'ova ku ebyo byonna waliyo gye bayita others. Kati bi plastic ebigumu nga bisoketi, printer cartridge, agaganene, ku computer ekyo ki covering kya computer naye yo category ndala.
Never kwesa 3D bishi those things.
Nayo yo ndala. So bweba nga PET esigalira mu PET.
You cannot make another material.
HD kati. Akachupa is PET. Ekidomola is HD category ndala. So toyinza kuva mu kidomola n'okolamu akacupa kubanga byanjawulo.
Okay.
Ndowooza ekyo nakyo akitegedde. Awo naabuuza nakyo inherita. Are glasses also categorized as plastics, as rock polythene? How can glasses be handled to manage the environment?
Akati mu kituufu kyakyo it's called a tumbler. Because glass is the material.
Aluminium, that's I think.
No, waliwo glass ez'omu kitchen eziba glass.
Yes.
Waliwo zetuyita glass naye tumbler nga za metallic.
Okay.
Zezitya nga sezitegedde.
Waliwo zetunyweramu amazzi.
Zino zetunyweramu amazzi ez'omukiyungu.
Naye nga ya kyuma. Waliwo obutambula obw'ekyuma. Bw'okalaba okamanya. I think you've used it naye tokategedde. So waliwo tumbler nga ya metal. Ne wabaawo tumbler nga ya plastic. Ne wabaawo tumbler nga ya glass. Kitegeerekese. So kati tumbler ya plastic can be recycled.
Okay.
Kubanga eyo eba HD. It can be recycled. So simanyi oba
I think
kitegeerekese kibuuzo ki.
Okay. Buuza, if someone wanted your services in here,
I think that one
should
be the last one.
Abuuza, does Aquila only buy plastics or even polythene papers? How can a young boy who picks bottles, plastics at our doorsteps break the supply chain to directly bring his collection to your factory without going through another buyer?
Logistics. So plastic is bulky. Kati abatwala ku mugongo, usually the mode of transport is bigere. Ndi Kiteezi. Bwa collecting ano tajja kutambula kujja Kiteezi. Ne bwakwata taxi ajeyo. Sente zakozeseza mu transport zibanangwa mu kacupa. Mpozi nga collecting emmotoka. So kati bano kye bakola abi kuŋŋaanya bwe biwera emmotoka nejja netwala kati bwe biba ebingi eza transport zivaako naye naafunako amagoba. So that is the logistics. Naye bw'aleeta nze sifayo gy'avudde nja kumubalira kilo meka sente meka muwe sente ze. So I have no problem. So the problem is logistics.
Okay. Ndoza waluka
do we categorize silver plates and foil papers as plastics? How is it managed if it can't be recycled, and how long do they take to decompose?
So there is disposable plates.
Yes.
Now I silver. Well, silver is aluminium. It's not plastic.
No, true.
Disposable
yes.
Is plastic. There is a category of plastic and it is recycled. Disposable plates, disposable cups.
The other one was
silver.
Silver plates is the same as the aluminium foil. I think the product is the same.
Yes, it's the same. While we have uses do we buy Kavera? We don't buy Kavera.
I think that
bottles zokka.
No, plastic. So era bwona je tukubuzo ina plastic ki. Kakati ogenda ku
So plastic we bidomola yenna mu mutwalo we bath.
Any other thing except Kavera.
Except Kavera.
Oh.
Yes.
Okay.
But segregated because buli kimu kina bei kati kyeyambuziza musasula sente meka. That is generic. Kati bwobo kiruddemu omanya buli omu wakubuuliza ng'omanya background ye. Oli ajja kujja kugambe Renzori mumugula meka. Kati Renzori is mineral water bottles, which is PET. Of course it's not just Renzori. Naye omanya. Oli nagamba nyina ebidomola. Kati oyo omanya ayinamu some knowledge segregating. Oli bagamba nyina plastic. Ombuuza plastic ki? Because plastic nga bwe tugambye
nina ebikopo nina amasowaani.
Kati awo ng'otandikira awo n'ekirala kye tuyina tubagamba kuba ebifaananyi obimpeereze ku WhatsApp nga tannasimbula. Kubanga ajja kusimbula ajja kumbuuza meka asimbule mugambe biri contaminated. Nga biddugala nnyo. So bwe biba abantu baffe kye bakola obucupa babuteekamu amazzi buzitowe. So mbagamba kuba ebifaananyi ndabe. So bw'ojja ku factory tusooka ne tujja ne tugayiwa kubanga otunda plastic si mazzi.
Akaino zitowa kiro bagipimenga ewera.
So ebyo byonna tubikola nga tetunasasula. Then bwe tumala ne tukkiriziganya. Actually waliwo abaleeteramu nga baleeteddemu foil, aluminium, baleeteddemu atali plastic. Ne tubijjamu ne tubikuteera awo.
Kati n'obuddeeya mu recycling.
Nabo babu recycling.
Oyina?
Sina, but I never thought anyone just takes.
Kakati olaba what is happening is bino ebintu bigenda mu environment naye tubiraba as waste. Kubanga tubi recyclinga. Disposables, twogedde ku disposables. Tujja kusanga disposables out in the environment. And what is standing out is Kavera. N'akacupa, I can challenge you. Fuluma anotambule. Onoonye obucupa 5 ku street. Tojja busanga. Kubanga twabuwa value.
Obuziwa buliwo nti concentration abasinga bagiteeka nnyo ku bucupa buno. Oli ne bwasanga wali akadeeya asobola okukaleka naye nga akuŋŋaanyiza akacupa.
Kati value. Kati obudeeya tebuwera. Bwefuna akadeeya kamu okufuna ak'okubiri wajja kuyita ebbanga.
Kati nsobola okuleeta obucupa nga bungi nereetamu n'obudeeya bwange mu bubiri.
Bwonna tujja byawula tubipime tubisasule.
Okay. That is actually good. Ndowooza tuwunzike ne comment eno if someone wanted your services, engineer, where and how he or she finds you or finds it.
Okay. Factory eri Kiteezi. Eddiridde kasasiro ya KCC.
Era kyembadde ngenda okubuuza. Nti muliraanye.
Tuliraanye. Ati tukola mu kasasiro.
Okay.
Tuliraanye KCC. Bw'aba asobola bw'otuuka ku kasasiro ya KCC n'obabuuza Aquila bakutuusawo bulungi.
Okay.
Bw'ova ku ekyo internet social media yajja, tulina website www.aquilarecycling.com. Tuli ku WhatsApp, tuli ku Facebook, tuli ku Twitter, so oyinza okututuukako. Consultation ya bwerere. Njagala kusettinga up ab'amasomero, njagala kusettinga up waste management system, company nyina plastic tumukoze tutya. So we are accessible, we are into waste management.
So mukolagana n'abaana abaleeta mu bungi oba n'abaana abakatono katono nabo mubatwala nti oli alinayo ebikutiya bye nga 3 oba nga 2 asobola obbireeta naye n'abaako kyafunamu?
Tusasula kilo kuba ku kilo emu.
Oh, that's
good. So bw'aleeta actually newe tuli oli ajja kuleetera ku mugongo tumupime.
Okay.
Kagwirawo agende ne sente ze.
Bakabowozi your closing remarks.
I want to start by thanking you for this opportunity. For as long as we share the message that plastic can be valuable instead of be a pollutant, for natuganyirwa, we all benefit. Then 2, this is our problem. The manufacturer, government, the recycler, no muntu as individuals, we all have a problem of plastic pollution. This is our country. I am Ugandan. So for me, it hits home. So let us work together and see how we can reduce the impact of plastic on the environment.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I do not think we have anything useful to add after that. Because as you know, this is our collective fight. So he has decided he's going to do his part, and that is recycling. At least add on the longevity of a product instead of just disposing it off. So what are you going to do? What are you doing as an individual? Each one of us has to do something. That is how we come to a conclusion or a solution. You cannot expect another person. People want to say, government, but government is all of us. So what are you doing as an individual, as government is also trying to do something? So that is one thing. And another, the people who are producing these things, I think they need to also have a provision for the end product. Because I do not know how you produce millions of tons of plastics and you do not know where they go. But you keep producing every single day. So I think that is also your responsibility in a sense. So my call today is to those people to make sure that they have a plan for their disposal of products, especially those plastic ones. If they need to partner with these gentlemen to make sure that all their products go back to them, at least that will also help, because at least you won't have a lot of those plastics in circulation. Yeah, so I do not know, unless Lillian, you have something useful to add.
Nothing much, just Okubagamat. It starts with me and you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.